it is possible for spiritual business owners to run successful as fuck businesses, which makes a lot of money. This is what I think of when I think of Debbie Lucas and her brand, because that's what she stands up for. She stands up for spiritual, empathetic, mission-driven, passionate business owners, spiritual business owners, to run their business in a way that feels aligned to their heart by marketing it right, by having the right sales funnel, by knowing how to convert and lead people and lead their soul clients to work with them in a way that feels right to their heart and soul and spirit. I think she's one of the best marketers for spiritual entrepreneurs I've seen on LinkedIn. And I'm so honored to have her on this edition of Soulfully Aligned Business Podcast. Thank you so much for listening in. This is Shruti Vidyasundar, your host, and I'm an intuitive business and a soul purpose guide. I'm extremely passionate about guiding all spiritual, mystic coaches and healers to find their soul purpose and run a business that feels aligned to their soul while making money, of course. Interviewing Debbie was a beautiful experience, and because we spoke about how our soul leads our business and how our brain sort of follows the soul, and how we can truly arrange our business based on our spirits, based on our souls, based on our energies, while making use of our mind too. And it was such a beautiful episode, and I cannot wait for you guys to listen in. Thank you so much, and I cannot wait to listen to your feedback too. Thank you. Hey Debbie, thank you so much for accepting to come on this podcast. Really, it's my honor. How are you doing today, first of all?
Yep, I'm doing very well, Shruti. Firstly, thank you for having me. I just love when we connected and we just, there was such a synergy in our energy and the work that we do. And yeah, I just love having these kind of collaborative conversations and opportunities. But I'm doing very well. I'm in Scotland and the sun is shining. I don't know if you can see it coming through from the window, but the last few days it feels like spring has really started for us. So that always just raises the vibe and the energy.
Oh, wow, that's so beautiful. Yeah, it's still burning. It's still burning hot.
Mhm.
Here, you will see me wipe off my sweat like this during the call.
We may get 2 or 3 days where it's that warm for us, yeah. But yeah, I've adjusted to that now.
Yeah. Okay, so for people who don't know the beautiful work that you do, your beautiful self, your amazing soul, can you please introduce yourself to them about what you do and
So
everything?
yeah, so I'm Debbie Lucas. I am the founder and CEO of Eyes on Digital Media Limited, and essentially I'm a spiritual business guide for entrepreneurs, and I really like to focus on spiritual entrepreneurs who are ready to achieve financial stability through simplifying their offers. Because what I found is so many people, chase the shiny object syndrome. They have so many ideas and so many different ways that they can help people, but actually bringing that back down and simplifying that really helps them to kind of, establish themselves as an authority, know who they're working with. And we'll get more into that as we go through the conversation. But, what people have really found using the strategy is that actually it just takes away the overwhelm of feeling like
Mm.
they need to do all the things. So we can get more into the detail of how we do that. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Wow. I think you pivoted a couple of months back, right, to what you do now. So, what were you doing before, and what made you choose this particular path? Because
Yeah.
I think, especially spiritual entrepreneurs can be very feminine. They can be very emotional, intuitive, and stuff. And sometimes we have friction when we tap into our masculine sides, right? Which is like the strategy and the offer creation and the business side and stuff like that. So, what were you doing before, and what led you to do what you do now? Like, what was the inspiration?
Yeah. So I kind of can't tell that story without telling where I started from, and I'll keep it as brief as I can. So in
Sure.
2021, so my background is in social work here in the UK, and I've always been in the business of helping people, but also always wanted to run my own business. And so in 2021, did my master NLP and hypnosis certification, which was amazing, and really set me onto my spiritual personal development journey, as much as then launching me into the online business world, because we were kind of just coming out of COVID and there was still a lot of restrictions around, which I'm, truly grateful for, in the sense of it forced me online when I would have maybe stayed local and stayed small in terms of face-to-face
Yeah.
work. So I'm a bit like a sponge. I like to know how things work. So really set about learning how to establish myself online, how to do websites, how to, market yourself, all the social media elements of it. And really, again, knowing how things work in terms of strategy, but also the technical side, which I suppose is a lot of the masculine bits. And what I learned in that first year was really a lot around, a lot of the things that I did learn was around marketing tactics, but create, all the sales, like heavy sales, and how to have a sales conversation, but also creating lack and scarcity. And it just wasn't sitting easy with me. And so I kind of developed a method for myself called the journey method, just to help myself understand it, but also help myself break down what I do. And so I then kind of started offering just general advice and guidance to people who I'd done the training with, and kind of went more into business coaching, and was having a couple of conversations onboarding some clients in 2022, so almost a year later. And they were like, right, I get why my website needs to look a certain way, why I need to do social media a certain way. I just don't have the wherewithal or the technical know-how how to do that. And I was like, well, I kind of love doing that kind of thing. So, and then one of the clients I spoke to was like, all right, give me a proposal to help me do all of this. So then I
Oh,
moved more into
wow.
online business management, helping people to create funnels, create courses, doing all the technical aspects of getting that online. So I worked with a lot of OBM clients throughout
Mm.
2022. And then towards the end of the middle of 2023, I kind of started moving more towards website-based work, so more project-based work. I felt that worked better because I still run my business as a side hustle. So that's another point to note here as well. And then actually, as you mentioned there, the end of last year, I kind of then realized, my soul clients are spiritual entrepreneurs. They are the people who have all these amazing gifts to give the world, but really struggle to get it out there, and also struggle to,
Yeah.
earn a living from it, because, at the end of the day, we've got bills to pay. The bank or
Yeah.
the landlord is not going to accept the universe has my back. I'm going to get the bills paid. Don't worry about it. We need to be able to show that we've got money coming in. So that really kind of, once I had that clarity, and I pivoted at the end of last year, which was the end of 2023, um, everything started falling into alignment. I created my Simplify for Success strategy, created the online course, which people, are buying and loving, and now launching my group coaching program, which takes everything that they learn in the course to the next level, essentially, because there's so much I wasn't able to put in the course that I still have, that I can offer support and advice on. So, now, and I'm now practicing what I teach, which for a long time I wasn't able to, because I was doing all the work for everybody else. I was doing all the work for my clients. I didn't have time to work in and on my own business. So now that that's all coming into place, I'm seeing the evidence for myself that this actually works, as it has done for my clients. And even up until recently, I still have one OBM client that I've been working with, and my soul is being called to another business, which I'll still keep my eyes on digital media, but there's something else, a project that I'm working on, which I'll share more of in time, once it comes, once it's ready to be launched. And made the decision to kind of release that regular monthly income that I was getting from that OBM client, which from a
Mm.
business perspective and a logical perspective makes no sense at all. But from a heart and soul led perspective, it's absolutely the right decision. And even, when I made that decision and I had the conversation, and, we're parting on good terms, I've called more abundance in. I've had more people coming to me asking for, some are one-off projects, some are looking to work with me on a longer term basis. My course is selling, the group coaching program is launching, and people are interested in that. So yeah, it's just when you start making these decisions from that aligned place, and aligned with your values and your spiritual values, and doing what's right for you and the people you serve, the world just opens up. And you're recording this, so a lot of times on podcast, people can't see my face, but you can see it on my face, just how amazing it is and how amazing it
I
feels
can,
right, yeah, in my
yeah,
heart.
I can see it. I can see it so beautifully and so brilliantly. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Genuinely, Debbie. Just, and as you were sharing, my heart was just opening up more and more and more and more. And thank you for being who you are. Um, wow. How do you how do you balance the masculine and the feminine side? How do you balance the strategy and the intuition and emotions and feelings, and how do you do it?
So one of the things that I've actually learned much more recently is I've always been interested in astrology and learning to work. I've been learning to work more with the moon cycles, which is really interesting, and I've got them up on my pinboard just behind my screen, yeah. But the new moon is all about setting your intentions. Yep, I love it, love it. Taking aligned action. Really, putting things out there. It's about planting the seeds. The full moon's all about reaping those rewards and things like that. So, I kind of lean into those energies quite a lot. And the other thing that I've learned very recently from Marissa Fontana, who's a mutual connection of ours, is working with the days of the week. So that each day is governed by a planetary body, and it means different things. So Mondays is more the feminine side, the rest relaxation, recharging, journaling, meditation. Tuesdays is my like, and I probably intuitively worked with these energies without really knowing it, but having the framework
Mm.
now really helps. Tuesdays are always the days that I've got things done. I can sit down at like my desk at half past 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I can blast through my to-do list, and by 12 o'clock it's almost all done. Whereas Mondays it was such a slow start, and now that I'm able to work within that and recognize that that's where I'm at, it makes it so much better. So obviously within that, like I have my own cycles, in
Yeah.
terms of whether I'm tired or not, my own menstrual cycles, and mine doesn't quite sync with the moon. So sometimes I'm kind of feeling a bit at odds, but like I'm just learning to trust with what feels good with me. And yeah, intuition is more of the feminine side, but the days that I feel energized and ready to work and do the things, I do it, because I know that 2, 3, 4 days down the line, I might not have that energy, and I need to take some time out and just take care of myself. So, you know,
Mhm.
or maybe on those days, there's maybe some, there's a couple of things that absolutely need to be done on the day. I'll do them. I'm not going to just totally step away. But yeah, just really leaning into the energies of it all. And as I said, like there's some days, like my Tuesdays is like a very masculine day. It's like get stuff done, and then I know that I can work within the energies of the rest of the days as well.
Wow. That's so fascinating. It is so beautiful that you brought this up because I just recorded a wonderful, wonderful episode, I think 2 days back with Tash Lancaster, who does the tarot reading. So we had a conversation about how to design our life based on menstrual cycles. And the conversation started off with me telling her, saying, hey, the spiritual world can be very overwhelming because you have the moon cycles, you have the astrology, you have this, you have that, you have the days, and it sort of overwhelmed me a lot. I was like, okay, what's going on? Because it was just so many different variables to keep up. And then she was saying, should they just focus on your menstrual cycle because that's you, that's your body, right? Everything comes as a second degree opinion or suggestion, and that sort of blew my mind away. Anyways,
That's really helpful actually, because I felt quite torn with, like I need to stick with what's going on with the moon cycles, and as I said, it doesn't sync. And then the times when I'm supposed to be high energy and getting stuff out there, I'm like, I just want to go put a blanket over my head. So that's actually, so thank you to Tasha via you, or Tasha, and I'd love to listen to that podcast when it comes out as well, because it is absolutely what feels true to you and right to you. And since I've started
yeah.
making decisions and acting from that place, everything just flows and falls into alignment so much better.
Oh, I'll probably release it in a couple of weeks and I'll send it to you. It just blew my mind, some of the things that you said. I was like, really? Like, I didn't even think of such things. Oh, gosh. Okay. So, for someone who is, okay, so typically what I have started to do in most of my podcast interviews is take your ideal client through their client journey. Okay. I don't like to call it, but hey, I have found no other word. So their client journey or their customer journey, right? And you can name them as me. Okay. So I'm that person.
Yeah.
So I am a person who has just started my spiritual business. I am a spiritual person. I might or might not have gone through my spiritual awakening process. Okay. And I am extremely passionate. I am extremely talented, though I do doubt from time to time whether I'm good enough or not. Okay. Um, I used to be intellectual for a long, long time. And now I have come to a phase where I don't want to be intellectual anymore. So I've completely tapped into my feminine side. Am I good so far?
Yes.
Okay. So I've completely tapped into my feminine side, and I'm sort of overthinking about tapping into my masculine side because I have very bad experiences or thoughts about it, looking at the broey marketing or my own experiences, right? But I also know that the masculine side is important for running a business. Okay. And, but that side sort of overwhelms me. Yes, I'm posting content on social media and stuff, but it's not specific. I'm just listening to my heart. I'm just going. Yes, I'm DMing people. I'm getting in conversations, but it's just like la 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 la. So that's how it's going, right? What do if someone is at that phase, what would you suggest them to do first?
So the first thing that I always do is like the what I teach through the Simplify for Success strategy is really tapping into your own intuition and your own inner wisdom. Um, and that's a very feminine practice because when we create from and I've only just recently, literally in the last 2 or 3 weeks, started learning about like womb wisdom, and the way we work in this Simplify for Success strategy is really kind of creating and birthing what we have to offer the world from our wisdom, and that comes both from intellectual wisdom as well as body wisdom, womb wisdom. And I get goosebumps when I talk about this. So that really, it's a very feminine practice. And we do a lot of guided meditations in terms of connecting with your ideal client, connecting with that one pain point, that one thing that keeps them awake at night, or they wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning worrying about. Yeah, there's all the other things that they struggle with and that you can help them with, but it's that one thing that's going to make them say, yes, I need the help that you're offering. So when we have that foundation from that really feminine place, the framework that I teach, which is the journey method within that, everything hangs from that and everything flows from it. And it's very much about working in flow with, knowing who your ideal client is, knowing how you help them. So those first three, that, the just right, who's your ideal client, the one pain point, and your unique solution or framework, whatever you want to call it, everything else hangs off that. So all your email nurturing, all your mid-ticket and your low-ticket offers and your high-ticket offers, all your social media, the lead magnets that you put out, everything hangs off that beautiful framework that you've created as that foundation. So you can then start bringing in some of the more masculine elements of it, because we do need the systems to send emails. We do need to be present on the technological platforms, the social media platforms to reach our clients. But you're coming from that beautiful space and that beautiful creation that you've brought, from within yourself, and you can share your wisdom from that. So you then kind of tap into it from that place, and you kind of make it fit with what you want, rather than like, I need to have 10 DMs messages, and I need to book so many sales calls, and I need to do my sales calls in this way. And actually, certainly when I've had, even more recently, some of the discovery calls I've had is in any conversation I have, even like the one we're having just now, is I bring that energy and that joy and excitement that what I do bubbles up inside me, and it comes across, and people have always commented on that. So I know that I'm bringing that energy into those calls. And I have to tell people what I'm offering because else they're not going to know.
Yeah.
If I don't have a website or I tell them what my offers are, and so that realization for me has really helped me to kind of balance that masculine bit as well. I'm not
Mhm.
selling, I'm just telling people, look, if you feel aligned with what I offer and you feel aligned to, buy the course or come on the group coaching program, I would love to have you. My heart and my invitation is always open. But I am not going to convince you, because if I have to convince you and you're making a
Yeah,
decision from that place, that's not where we want to start from. And that's not where I create things from. And that's not how I start relationships with people.
exactly. It's like, and thank you so much for bringing up this point exactly, because there is just so much of marketing tactics out there that has never felt aligned to my soul. Okay. Like people say things like, oh, coach them through their objections. Okay. Yes, but there's also a balance to it. There's a very, very fine balance that only you know, right? Or they say, oh, give them a discount if they pay in full right on the call. And I'm like, dude, no, please, please don't do that. It's like, would you be icky paying thousands of dollars to someone without having time to think?
No.
Right? Like,
And
why would
yeah.
you ask other person to do the same thing?
100%. And, I actually had experience of that a couple of years ago. I was on a call and it's somebody I'd followed for a long time. He happened to be a male, but he was really, I found him quite inspirational. And I knew I wanted to join his membership. So it wasn't like a big financial commitment. And I was going to join. And I got on the call with him and he basically wanted me to buy right on the call with him. And I said to him, no, I'm not doing it. I says, I'm going to join the membership, but I'm not doing it on the call with you. And felt really kind of pushed to stand my ground. And again, been in other conversations with people where, it's like, if you book with me now, you'll get this, fast action bonus and
Yeah.
things like that. And yeah, there's elements of, you need to use some of those, you know, it's about rewarding fast action. It's not about trying to get people in, because there's so much that you can do within that. But it's not about pressurizing people, because I actually said to this person, I do not do well with being feel to forced into making a decision. And they kept going and they kept going. And eventually I said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I probably would have invested with you, had the money to invest with you, but I'm not going to do it because I told you that's not how I work. And again, working in the spiritual world and understanding how people operate. So I'm just learning about my human design. I'm a manifester and I'm an emotional authority, which means I shouldn't make decisions in an emotional state. And looking back on my life, knowing when I've made really critical, pivotal decisions in my life, it's been when I've been in a kind of neutral space where I've
Oh,
made decisions in that
wow.
highly emotional kind of like excitement or energy or whatever. I'm not necessarily always going on to regret it, but it had a different outcome or feel and how things played out in my life. So I'm leaning much more into that and feeling much more confident in being able to say, back off. This is how I operate. And if you can't
Yeah.
understand that, then
Yeah.
you're not the person I want to work with. And that's what I like to honor in other people as well.
Exactly. Because it's like, no, the problem I have, I know we are going slightly off topic, but hey, anyways, the problem I have with a lot of these people is they are meant to be coaches. They are in a people profession and they don't seem to read the other person and how uncomfortable the other person is. And they keep poking on and they keep poking on. And I think I've done that once, and I felt so horrible after that, you know? And I'm like, you can't, like, you are in the business of reading other people. If you can't read the person across the room, then what's the point of you being there if you can't show that empathy?
And I think you said we were going slightly off topic, but it actually is very relevant to what we're talking about. And people who know me and follow me know that I practice from a place of abundance, and I believe that there's enough there for everybody, and that the right people will come at the right time. You need to keep yourself in that state. But with people who, and again, I suppose I'm generalizing, yeah, and it's no disrespect to people who do that, but when people are pushing for the sale and pushing for the sale and not reading the room, that they're stuck in that lack and scarcity mindset because they're like, if I don't onboard this client, then I'm not going to have the income, and that kind of thing. And whereas if you come from that abundant mindset and you know that you will call in the people, and again, that's where we created from this beautiful feminine space, that it's your soul clients, the people who are aligned with who you are and what you offer, they will come into your world. And that's taken me years of mindset work to get to that place, and I guess, and I'm at that cusp now where I'm fortunate, where I'm not solely dependent on the income from my business, because I do still have my day job income. But I set the very strong intention that this year I will be resigning from that. And, there is that I've kind of been wrestling almost, from the start of the year, like, we'll have enough income to pay the bills. And actually, like, even just the example I gave of releasing that regular monthly income just in March, there's a leading period to me stopping working with my client because I'm want to do a decent handover. But once I've released and I made that decision, I've taken that leap of faith. As I said, I've had more people coming to me, and some people I've had I've been proactive in having conversations with, and we've gotten a call and they've said, yes, we want to work with you. Other people have just come completely out of the blue and contacted me and said, I want to buy your course, or whatever it is. So I'm learning to trust that if I leap, the net will appear. So, I hope that I trust and I know in myself that it won't shift the way I do calls, because, one of the things I was very clear about, I didn't want to kind of be in that position where it was like, right, I need to onboard a call right now, else
Yeah.
I'm not going to have, be able to pay my electricity, or pay the bills for the house. I don't want to come from that place. So I need to be able to learn to trust in myself and the process. And I've now got the evidence that that's working for me because it's worked for my clients. So, it's there.
I don't think you'll change, Debbie.
Mhm.
I genuinely don't think you'll change. Yes, it is a transition process. And yes, it will take some time for you to get adjusted, but I don't think you'll change.
I hope
You're,
so. And I say I hope so. I know in my heart I will. I suppose it is just always, there's still that bit of fear that I need to let go of. But yeah, there's I just, it's gonna happen, and I know it will happen, and I'm kind of getting to that place now where I'm absolutely ready to step into that future version of myself and live the life that I've been desiring for so long.
yes, yes, yes. Because we have been talking so much about marketing for so for new entrepreneurs, right? There is, of course, um the first thing that you do is you start consuming information. You start consuming information, you start taking advice, you keep reading books and posts and videos and stuff like that. And it becomes sort of an information overload. And your first instinct, when you don't know, your mental instinct, not your soul's instinct, your mental instinct, when you don't know the space, is okay, are you saying something? I'm going to implement it as it is, right? Without using the soul's filter, right? And then thus frustration comes in, thus overwhelm comes in. So for people who are in that stage, what process would you advise them to go through when they are taking advice from anyone? And two, when they are trying to implement new marketing strategies for their own business?
So first of all, I can absolutely identify with that person that you've described it, because that was me 3 years ago, literally 3 years ago. And I had, again, I've spoken about this many times. I at one point had over 300 lead magnets that I downloaded from all the gurus and the business coaches and the people who are in the know, and had everything in a folder, and I had screenshots on my phone. And that's how the journey method was born, because I literally had to take a day out and say, right, I need to take what resonates with me and I need to let go of the rest. And eventually, once I started working through a lot of the things, we're saying the same thing. Because at the end of the day, the
Exactly.
fundamentals of marketing are the fundamentals of marketing. You just,
Yeah.
people just badge it in a different, slightly different way. But the biggest thing that I will always say to anybody starting out, and then I try and do this as much myself as I can as well, is pick one person that resonates with you, and stick with them, and stay the course. Because when you start, sorry, so pick one person and stay with them. implement whatever they're teaching if it resonates with you. Because if you start, with one person will say this is the way to do it, and someone will say slightly differently, and you think, well, because
Mm.
it hasn't worked this one time, it must not work, so I'll go and try this situation. But actually, staying the course and staying consistent in terms of what you're putting out there means that you start establishing yourself as an authority. And that's a big part of the Simplify for Success strategy, because you
Mm.
become known for that thing that you do. Now, this doesn't work with people who are quite multi-passionate
Yeah.
and identifies it like doing all the things. It works for somebody who wants to kind of be a bit more consistent and become known for that one thing. So again, a role model that I look up to is Amy Porterfield. She's known for creating online courses. That's what people know her for. And people are queuing. She only opens up her digital course academy, I think it's once or twice a year. And people are
Oh, wow.
queuing in the thousands to get into that, and because that's what she's known for. Yes, she teaches marketing and she teaches all the other things, but she's known for online course creation. I'm trying to think of somebody else that I follow off the top of my head. I can't think just right at this moment. But so that's how you become known for that one thing and how you establish. When you start chasing all the shiny objects in terms of what you can do, it becomes messy. People don't know what you stand for. People don't know what you offer. And if you're offering this thing one month and then another something completely different the next month, you can imagine people are like a whiplash. Where am I coming or am I going? And since I've become more consistent, I've seen the benefits. Since my clients have become more consistent, they've seen the benefits as well. So, and whenever I'm on a call with somebody, I'll say, look, whether that's me or whether that's somebody else you work with, I urge you to stick with that one person. Read their book, read their blogs, read their emails, read their posts, whatever they've got out there in terms of content, and really, implement that. Because nobody's right or wrong. And that's the one thing that I always say. I'm not saying my method is better or worse than anybody else's. It's just my way of putting
Mm.
those foundational marketing bits out there, how to create your funnels, etc. So,
Wow.
that's my biggest piece of advice.
Okay, I have so many questions here. Okay, especially as a multi-passionate person. When I'm in the initial stages of my business and I'm looking out for a mentor, even it feels like I have to get a taste of multiple people to actually understand who I want. So even in the choosing process, I get overwhelmed, right? That's point number one. And point number two, as a multi passionate, yes, I think now I have come to a point where I know what I want to be known for, but it was like years. It took me years to actually even understand. And even now, I am still multi passionate in terms of the content I post. Every day, I don't post content specifically for my clients, right? I don't think I can do that. Or probably it's a myth in my head. Who knows, right? All of us are questioning everything. So, for people like me, how it is not that for, I don't realize the importance of staying consistent in one thing. It's not that I don't realize it. I'm a manifesting generator, okay? And I am someone who needs to get inspired to do what I do. I'm someone who needs to have a fire in my ass to do what I do, okay? And if I do the same thing again and again and again, just because if I adhere to that should, right? It sort of, I sort of lose that spark. So I am personally, and probably there's a question that I'm asking from my side, right? I'm at a phase where I am extremely fluid. I realize I want to be more structured. I realize its importance. I'm not fighting against it, but I just don't know how to. And the typical norms, the typical advices of getting structured makes me feel boxed up. What would you say for people like that?
Yeah. So your 2 points first. Your first point about like speaking with or connecting with different people to see who resonates most with you. Absolutely. You don't, and unless the first person you speak to absolutely lights you up and makes you feel good, I would absolutely say you need to have something to compare it to, so I would say, you want to speak to at least a few different kind of people, or follow them, or read up on them, or research them. But again, it comes back to like just dropping back into your heart, dropping back into, like what is that feeling? Who, if you, so this is a way I make a lot of decisions, and usually it's an either or decision, but even if there's more than one, like if I go with this option, how does that feel? If I go with this second option, how does that feel? And usually, like if I can have the conversation with somebody will say, oh, number two, your face just lit up. And I'm like, actually, yeah, I felt really excited by that one. Then that's kind of how I make the decisions now. So yeah, you absolutely need to kind of, but I suppose you can follow as many people as you want, but in terms of implementing what they teach, that's where you want to stick with the one person's kind of, method, structure, advice, guidance, whatever it is. The second part, in terms of like how you, like you were talking about, like what content you put out there as a multi-passionate person, a lot of times what I see for multi-passionate people is that you can help people with so many different things. And like I can help people with so many different things. I'm a certified NLP and hypnosis practitioner, so I could do a lot of mindset work, but that's not my focus. That's what the benefits that they get. So again, it's about coming back to that one pain point. It doesn't mean that's the only pain point that they're going to be helped with. They're going to get all these other beautiful gifts that you have. But it's about, and this is the bit, so you can be multi-passionate, but you're working with, you know, again, that's a bit where the question around niching comes down as well. But if you're speaking to one particular person, and again, like I've given mine a name, so mine is Sam. I nearly forgot it there. I was going to say Sophia. Sam is my ideal client. I have a picture of Sam, and I speak to Sam when I'm writing my emails and I'm writing my content. I speak to Sam as my ideal client. So again, and I know what Sam's pain points are because I've done so much work around this. I know what she struggles with. And so, although I help her with all these other things, I help her to achieve financial stability in her business because she is multi-passionate. She has all these gifts, but actually she needs some help to kind of, yeah, you need to put that into some kind of framework. And the bit about feeling boxed in, again, if you learn to work with the cycles and the energies, within yourself, within the moon, the days of the week, you can still flow and do all the things without feeling too boxed in, because some days I feel like, oh, I need to sit and create my emails or my blogs or my posts. And actually what I've moved away from that is more intuitive posting. I try and post at the same time every day. And while I'm in my launch period for my group coaching program, I have scheduled them because I wanted that, that needs to have a bit more of a structure. But once that launch is finished, I'm going to move back into more intuitive posting, and I'm going to write my emails when an inspiration hits me. I'll write it there and then, but I will schedule it to go out in the usual time that people expect my emails. So there's ways within that you can still flow and work.
Oh, wow. Wow. What would be the top three things that you would tell? Like we discussed a previous avatar. We also discussed the avatar now. What would, and assuming that they are the same person, and assuming that those are the kind of people who also come to you, right? That's what I'm guessing because I've read a lot of your content and posts. Two questions here. What would be three messages that you would share with them? And I use the word message very specifically, right? And two, when is the exact time? I know exact time is a bit ludicrous, but when should they seek help? Because sometimes you just don't know when to seek help. So two questions for the people described throughout the episode.
So first, the three messages. So the first one is, you have so much wisdom within you that is a shame not to share with the world. And a lot of people will think, oh, but I need so much experience, I need to work with so many clients before I can start putting more out or start increasing my prices. There is no price on the wisdom that you own. It's not about the certificates that you have behind your name and the qualifications. It's not about the experience. Your life has given you the experience and the wisdom to be able to share, and it would be a shame not to share that with the world. So, you know, that you need to get that out there. Second message would be is really, as I said, like what I spoke about earlier, is pick one role model that you aspire to. Now, so that there's two elements to that. One could be somebody who is in the business that you're in, and you want to, you know, that's your ideal goal. That's where you want to work to. But the other part of it is maybe somebody who is more like a business mentor or guide type role, business coach, whatever you want to call it, and kind of go with that person, because you need, without consistency, you're never going to achieve it. It's going to be this roller coaster. You're going to be up and down. You're going to implement something and it's going to work, and then something might not work, and then it's like, right, I'll try something else and it'll work. But once you become consistent, it starts going like that. And that's what I'm starting to see in my own business just now. And the third message, and it's just gone out of my head, sorry, let me just, the wisdom, one person. Apologies for the silence there. I'm just trying to get it back again because it was a good
I
one.
know. Take your time.
Yeah, it's going with your intuition. It's going with what feels good and feels right. And yeah, so this is it. Rather than thinking, you know, because I get when you're starting out and cash flow, money coming in is maybe a bit scary, but actually thinking, I can't afford it, think, how can I make it happen? You know, and I think letting go of how the money can come in, because you might get a refund for something that you didn't know about, or you might find some, you may even find, £20 or dollars in a purse somewhere, which maybe not cover it. But in fact, that was the one message. But actually, the third message has come back is competition. There is no competition, because there is nobody like you who does what you do in the way that you do it. So this touches into imposter syndrome. Let go of whatever anybody else is doing. Yes, have the role models and people that you aspire to be or be like, but you bring your own unique gifts and wisdom in only the way that you can do it. Nobody can replicate that. Nobody can replicate what's in your mind, what's in your heart, and how you put that out in the world. So lean into that and trust in that, because that is the most beautiful gift that you can ever give yourself and the people that you work with. So that's my 3 messages.
Thank you.
And then can you remind me what your second question was again?
It was, when should people seek help? Because often people don't know when to.
Yeah. So obviously, the earlier you can seek help in your entrepreneurial journey or your business journey, the better. And it may be that you start off, kind of low level. So maybe you start following somebody on social media. It may be that you can, you sign up to the email list, if they've got blogs or videos on YouTube or whatever, and really learn as much as you can in that way. And that's again where I say stick with that one person, implement what they're teaching. And once you start generating more money and income coming in, then perhaps you can go on and buy like their course. So that's how I've structured my offer. So my course is a self-study course. It's very accessible in terms of financial investment and exchange, so that people can get on and do that. And then if they start generating money and they feel they want more and want to go more in depth, then they can sign up to the group coaching program. If they start generating even more money from that and they want to go one-to-one with me, then they got the money to do that. But it's always about start where you're at. And that's part of what I teach in the strategy is, having those different tiered offers within that framework means that you can meet people where they're at in terms of their mindset, financial and time commitments. Because, somebody might not have the time to commit to a weekly 1-hour call with me for 6 to 8 weeks, but they can do the self-study course that they can do in their own time and do in small pockets and things like that. So, start where you're at, and if that's consuming the free material that somebody's putting out there, but implement it and stick with that one, then you'll start seeing the growth and you'll start generating that income, which will then allow you to invest into that next level and things like that. So start as soon as you can, because any time and time you spend learning and investing in yourself and your business will always be paying off, and it'll compound over time and you'll see that growth coming.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Debbie, just for being yourself and being your awesome
You're very
self.
welcome.
Thank you.
It's a real
Thank you
pleasure. I
for,
love having these conversations.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your beautiful messages. Just means a lot. And yeah, we have come to the end of the episode. Any last words, any last messages that you want to share? If nothing
No,
comes up, it's okay too.
the only thing I'll say is, my door is always open, whether that's sending me an email, connecting with me on DMs, booking a call with me. One thing I'm very clear about is I don't do pushy sales tactics. I hope that's come through very clearly in this podcast, but I'm always happy to have a chat, to give you some advice and guidance. I don't gatekeep. I don't gatekeep at all. I can tell you everything that I know in a 30-minute call, but I can give you some advice and guidance on one particular area that you might be struggling with. So please always, my door is open, and I would love to have a conversation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
yes. I genuinely hope and believe that more and more spiritual entrepreneurs listen, more and more spiritual entrepreneurs who are too much into their feminine side listen to this podcast and are able to take some insights from it. And if they have any further questions, they can always reach out to you. Right?
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Have an amazing, beautiful, heartful, soulful, intuitive day that makes you smile. Thank you.
Thank you so much.